Hey everyone, Agent Slumber here with another episode of From Beginner to Heroic. This time, Volume 7, Decking Out. Let's go! Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this series so far. And we begin with talking about the player deck. So, running out of cards in the player's deck will cause you to gain an extra encounter card, which I'm sure you already know, which is obviously bad. During your turn, when drawing cards, and before ending your turn, check how many cards are left in your deck. If you see that drawing cards will force you to shuffle, consider if it's worth the draw. Obviously, if you have a choice, if you played your cards, you only have 2 cards in your hand, you end your turn, you don't really have a choice. You will have to, draw cards and shuffle the deck. However, sometimes giving up on playing a card or not drawing from a response is worth not getting the extra encounter card if the board state isn't good. What am I talking about? We have two basically scenarios here, right? The first one is you want to end your turn. You see that you have 2 cards in hand and you have 4 cards in the player deck. If you end your turn with 2 cards in hand, you draw 3. You have 1 card left in the deck, assuming you have a hand size of 5, which means you will not get an extra encounter card. Now, maybe the 2 cards you have in your hand are, a 2 cost and a 1 cost. So maybe you could play the 1 cost and then end the turn with 0 cards in hand, which means you will have to draw 5, reshuffle the deck, and draw the extra encounter card, which sometimes is fine. However, if the deck is in a really bad state, if the board is in a really bad state, and drawing that extra encounter card will maybe double your chances of losing the game or getting the board state out of control, maybe just keep the 2 cards in hand and draw only 3. Sometimes it's worth it. The second case is, let's say you play an ally that draws you a card, for example, Maria Hill, and if you choose to resolve the response of drawing a card, it will also shuffle your deck and gain an extra encounter card. So sometimes it's worth not resolving that response and not drawing the card. So that's what I'm talking about. The second case is the encounter deck. And there are 2 main considerations when discussing the encounter deck running out of cards. If you're playing a card that discards cards from the encounter deck, like looking for a minion, for example, it might be dangerous if you can't find the type of card you wanted, since you can discard a lot or even fizzle. So if you play a card that says, discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until you find a minion and then reveal that minion. If the scenario only has 2 minions in the deck, for example, like Sinister 6, I'm pretty sure it has only 2 minions. If you play that card, you might discard, 20 cards from the deck until you find the minion, which will, maybe it's not worth it, since you'll gain acceleration tokens and it will be pretty bad. Maybe the 2 minions are already out of the deck, they're in the discard, so the card will just fizzle and you will just waste the card. If you're not sure if there are any minions left in the deck or whatever it is that you are looking for, let's say there are 5 cards left in the encounter deck and you don't remember exactly how many minions there are in this encounter, maybe don't take the risk, because 4 cards aren't really, there isn't a good chance you'll find a minion there. The second side of this is when an encounter card discards cards, it might be worth activating if you see low chances of it hitting, finding a minion or magnetic card, for example. So that's the other side of the coin. If you kill a minion that says discard cards from the top of the deck until you find another minion, maybe it's worth doing it now instead of, waiting around, or there are some other cases that maybe some other card will draw you an encounter card and reshuffle the deck. if you see there are not a lot of cards left, it's worth resolving it while it doesn't have a lot of chances to resolve. Or if you play against Magneto and you gain 3 magnet counters and you have to look for a magnetic card, so you might sometimes have a choice of, arranging the top of the encounter deck, or deciding if Magneto attacks or not this round. Maybe you want to go to Alter Ego form. So if there aren't a lot of cards left and there isn't a good chance of a magnetic card left in the deck, maybe it's worth letting him activate just so he can resolve that ability. It will fizzle and then you lose the 3 counters without anything happening. That's basically it. It's pretty straightforward, but again, something small to think about when you are trying these harder difficulties. Every small advantage that you can get will get you closer to winning the game. That's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.